Hey guys, I'm back at my desk. I've got a tan, so much energy, so excited to get back to it. I have so many ideas and I want to use this video as a way for myself to talk through it just so I can clarify everything. Lots of random opportunities have been popping up out of the woodwork and I'm finding a way to give enough energy to each of those opportunities to make sure that they work well and that they make sense, but also so that they don't take away the energy from other projects that I've already started. I have a lot going on, but I always think it's an incredible blessing. And my thing is, if I, God forbid, touch wood, die tomorrow, what will I have done and what will I be proud of? And I feel like I never want to not do those things because life is so short and I have so much energy and so many ideas to give. Can I organize myself better? Are there ways that I could work smarter? For sure. But there's never a part of me that I want to subdue because I'm too occupied with time management or something like that. I feel like I have to always find a way to make it work. Recently, I feel like maybe I've been giving myself too much socially or in other ways, and it's just something I have to think about moving forward. Okay, so the first things first is, actually last night I was on a walk. My favorite thing to do is walk at night by myself. And I had this idea, I was like, I'm never afraid of doing things I don't want to do, and I'm never afraid of doing hard work. I'm just afraid of doing something that pushes me further away from my goals. I'm just afraid of doing something that doesn't bring me closer to my goals. It's not about the fact that it's not something I want to do, which I feel like in today's day and age, I feel like people are always like, does it make you feel good? Does it make you do this? Like sometimes things don't make you feel like that and that's okay. But if in the back of your mind, you know that this thing is actually the step that you need to take to get you closer to your goals, then you should 100% do it. And I think I've done a lot of that. And the older I get, the more discerning I am in deciding whether or not the thing that I'm doing actually makes sense for me. It's not just about suffering or like working for the sake of working. It's about working smart and knowing what's right for your own goals and for yourself. So, thought of the day. Marina Bay has been something that I have been a little bit dormant with. I spoke in the previous video about developing my perfect everyday bag, which is something I've been sitting on for a while. I have worked, I don't know, just like in my own way in the past, but I'd never started my own brand. I'd never really done my own content. And I'd always worked in film and, you know, visual media and things like that. But doing it on your own and doing it for yourself is a completely different ballgame. And I learned so much in the last year. I made so many mistakes, and it's so funny to see the stuff that I made before because you're like, what the fuck, that's garbage. But it gets you here, and also I'm proud of myself for putting myself out there regardless of what people thought, so fuck it. But here we are now, and I've given myself a lot of breathing room with Marina Bay just to really think about the approach I want to take. And honestly, a lot is clarified for me, and it's amazing like how much, like, I don't know, it feels like people, it's from the outside, people think it's inaction because I'm not actually taking physical steps or like posting or things like that. But in my head, the fucking cogs are turning 24/7, and I tell you what, I've been thinking about it constantly. But I'm really happy to say that I actually do have clarity on what I want to say and what the brand is about and the way in which I want to do it. So now it's just about actually putting it out and taking that action and showing people what Marina Bay really is. I'm gonna be more forward with it and with myself. It's not something I'm totally used to, and sometimes I wonder, like, is it a vanity thing? Is that an ego thing? I've been telling myself that it's like more a monetary thing, like I can't pay to find a model, and also like doesn't make sense with time. But also in a way, like I want to be the Bay girl, and I want to be like the part of my brand that I'm representing, because it's really important for me that I'm showing up first, and then I feel like the customers will see the sincerity, the genuineness, like behind that brand, behind the founder, and like really understand where it's coming from. For me, the Marina Bay girl is a person that goes after what they want with like feverish intensity, has fun, is energetic, is full of ideas, is full of creativity, and full of love for themselves and the world. And it's the community I've grown up with. It's the people around me. This is not a figment of my imagination. The Marina Bay girl is like all of the people that I know and love, and elements I've taken from them to like create this kind of persona. I am in no way saying like that's just me. I want it to be me, and I think in many ways I've like created this ideal of who this woman is or who this person is, because I want to strive to be like that. And honestly, in times where I feel a little bit dark, I think about this person. I'm like, what is that behavior aligned with a Marina Bay girl? And it's such an amazing North Star that I've set for myself. And I'm like, girl, no, like, come on, readjust, reassess. And it's kept pushing me to be like, what would this ideal be? What is this ideal? And I found that incredibly helpful. So yes, my Marina Bay girl, and the products that I'm creating and that I want to fit into this life are fashion first, of course. It's always about design. It's always about creating something beautiful. It's always about fitting in with the other brands that I see that fit with my brand. And then of course it's a little bit of function. I think for me, I don't want anything in my life that is uncomfortable, that doesn't feel good for myself, that doesn't help me in some way. And you know, some pieces of clothing have like bits falling off and this and that, like that's fine. If it like elevates my personality and elevates the way that I'm feeling, then in a way, like that's the function in itself, is like to make me feel really confident and gorgeous in that moment. So for me, form and function as well as the style is incredibly important. I spoke about that in the previous video, and like the construction of my everyday bag, and in the other pieces that I've made, I've always made them with the intention of like being a bag that you carry and that you love, and you stick a lot of stuff inside. I mean, I'm constantly traveling with my camera, my lipstick, my eyeliner, my eyebrow pencil. Eyebrow pencil can never leave the house without. I need that shit. My phone, of course. Just so many random things. Sometimes I bring a peppermint tea bag with me. It's literally right here, because they're actually a lot harder to find than you think, and peppermint tea is like my #1 beauty secret. So yeah, there are lots of things I travel with, and my Marina Bay bags have to fit everything. I never want someone to go and be like, fuck, I didn't bring the thing, because it was like in the bag and the other bag and this and that, which is like what I always do. Now I'm like, how can I make my life better? How can I make my customers' life better? How can I make them feel lighter, travel easier, and just look better in general? And that's so important. So that's where I've been going with the design. And like I mentioned previously, like about what the ideal of this woman is. And it's really been amazing for me to clarify it. And it's funny because I used to work in branding, so I did this for other brands. And I think when you do it for yourself, it's always in your own head. And you're like, no, I get it. But to actually put it down on paper and to do those exercises that I did for other brands was so incredibly helpful, because it's an exercise of just being like tough with yourself. And I think you can apply that to every part of your life, you know, like what are the 3 phrases, or what are the 3 words that you would use to describe your brand, or whatever it is. What are the 3 words that you use to describe you? What are the 3 words that you want someone to say when they think of your brand? What are the 3 words you want someone to say when they think of you? Like, yes, it can be kind of reductive and a little bit harsh, but building this brand, because it's so personal to me and the ideal that I want to live by, has been a little bit of a self-help exercise, I have to be honest with you. And in many ways it's been really helpful, because yeah, create that for yourself, like set that tone for yourself and be really clear on what that is and how you want to live by. And that's exactly what I think a brand is a fantasy almost, or like a goal. So, and I want my goal to be a healthy goal. My goal is in no way trying to isolate people. In fact, I want people to feel more of themselves. That's what I actually wrote down. I think it was my first thought when I did this exercise like 2 months ago. I was like, okay, Marina Bay is not, it's not hitting the truest note for myself. Like something doesn't feel completely right. I was like, what is it that you're actually trying to say and do here? Like, why do you think that your brand actually matters in a sea full of commercialism? Like, what is it that you're really trying to hit at? And I was like, okay, no, I want my brand to make other people feel more of themselves, not more of something else, which is what I've always felt, is like you wear another piece of someone else's brand or whatever, and it kind of doesn't fit, but it looks a bit cool. And you're like, I guess I look like this or something. It's like, no, I just want to look more myself. I want to feel more myself. And that thought, when I clarified it for myself, I was like, all right, well then how do I do that? And what does that look like? First for me, and then how do I do that for my customers? So this has been an ongoing, like really like a visual exploration, and it's actually slow. It's like a lot slower than I thought it would be. I'm just punching out images and I'm like, all right, done. And then I sit on it and I come back to it the next day. I'm like, no, like something's missing, something's missing, something's missing. And it's just nonstop of figuring out what you're trying to say and how you can be more nuanced and more clear and more clever in what you're trying to communicate. Of course, it's ongoing. Like, I will never stop learning about how to communicate to people in the ways that are best for people to receive. But even this exercise in itself has been so incredibly helpful. And for me, I feel like now when I put Marina Bay forward, I'm coming more from a place of certainty and truth, which I think when you actually start a brand is the best. You know, I look at brands like Sporty and Rich or Amy Landor, I'm pretty sure, quite a few of these brands that started as like these cult blogs. It's like an ideology, you know, like a way of life, like a goal, whatever it is like, oh, I like this imagery, like, I don't even know, Princess Diana in some hat or some shit. It's like, that's great to me. Like, that's what I want to live by. And the founders were posting this first and then the brand followed, which is so interesting. And, you know, a lot of brands try to do that in a reverse order. It's like product first and then the ideology or then the mood, which is kind of the direction that I went. But I've actually been, in my mind, product is number one and is the easiest for me, is that I see it, I feel it, I know what I want to wear, I know what feels good, I know what would fit with my wardrobe and these kind of things. But it's incredibly difficult to communicate the necessity of that product when you don't have that imagery to back, when you don't have that story. So it's been interesting to really think, okay, I love these two parts, like how do I blend them together? And, you know, one skill maybe I'm super strong in one part of my life, one skill I'm really strong on in another part. Anyways, I'm sounding a bit convoluted there, but just making sure it's harmonious in both of those things. I watched this video with Jonathan Anderson, and he was saying like how designing and product is literally like 10% of the brand, which is so true. And I mean, it's even more true now for him at Dior than it probably was when he first started JW Anderson. And of course, you know, we're small, I'm small. I love when I say we, like I have a massive team, me and this like empty table of people. Marina Bay is small, but you still have to use the same philosophy. And in the past, I haven't done that. I haven't treated it like I should have had the respect to treat it. You know, I treat it more like my passion project or something different. But when you want it to become like that, you actually have to treat it like that. So there you go. But yes, thinking about all the different facets of storytelling is so important. I could literally talk about Marina Bay for ages, but where I'm thinking of moving is using Marina Bay, and it's actually kind of always been my intention, is using Marina Bay as a way to tell the stories that I want to tell through directing and photography. And with photography, I've already been trying to cultivate this type of like community, I want to say, of women that I want to capture that are aspirational or interesting or, you know, just even of a similar background. That's always been my intention with photography, is to kind of like reflect what I'm seeing in my world that maybe I don't see in other places. Is, am I seeing a lot of Eurasian women captured? Sure, yes, but maybe they're hypersexualized or whatever it is. Anyways, putting my own twist on it. That's the community that I belong to and that I'm familiar with. That's also the community that I'm speaking to with Marina Bay. So it feeds into each other. And now I want to take it a step further to be like, okay, I'm good at directing, I'm good at telling stories, I'm good at photography, and I'm also obviously good at like designing or creating these things. And there are gaps in how I'm telling each story for sure. There are gaps in how I market myself, in the ways in which I can be more effective with my communication. It always comes back to communication and marketing. But I do have some strengths there. So I'm thinking, how can I link all three and honestly kind of kill 4 birds with one stone, rather than just think about them as kind of individual entities, which is what I've been doing. And I'm gonna come up with video content that is basically 3. I'm gonna make a series about me building Marina Bay that uses the skills of like photography and directing, all of my loves there, but is still communicating and pushing Marina Bay. It's kind of always been my thing all along to do this. I actually, like, one of the other reasons I started Marina Bay, aside from just wanting to create product and knowing that I wanted to be a designer and like having this idea, was that I wasn't actually getting a lot of photography and directing jobs. And I was like, well, I just should do it on my own. I was doing a lot of commercial content or big budget stuff, and of course you never have the creative freedom, and I just had all these ideas I wanted to try and execute. I was like, I'm never gonna get good unless I actually get that like hands-on experience of experimentation. So when I started Marina Bay, I just thought, okay, this is actually my opportunity to do that. And for sure, I've learned so fucking much. So I feel like I'm coming back to that, of just being like, take ownership of every single part of it. If you want to tell the story, don't wait for someone else to tell the story for you. Tell it, do it. Yeah. And it is like a little bit scary because I haven't really created something like this before. And I also don't know if it would work. It's obviously bringing a lot of different elements together, and it's going to take a little bit of time to really think about the idea. I've been thinking about it for like 3 weeks now, maybe a bit longer. I have these threads of ideas that kind of like touch each other, but they haven't quite meshed yet. And I'm just giving it that, I'm for once in my life trying to be patient to allow myself to really marinate in these ideas, my favorite word, marinate, to allow them to become the best that they can be. You know, in classic me style is to just think of the idea that is at maybe 5 to 10% development and then just push it out, because I have a fear that if I don't do it in that moment, I will never do it and someone else will take it. So I'm always just like, let's just fucking do it. And also I feel like, you know, strike when the iron's hot, just kind of go for it type thing. But I'm trying to let these ideas sit and know that the more I sit with them, the more I just develop them in my mind. And I think that's important too. So I'm going to be coming out with a series, and I'm going to act in it too, which is a lot. But like I said, I feel like the idea of creative ownership and storytelling and just being able to do absolutely everything for me is so important. And it's something that I've wanted to do for so long, is just know that from every part of something that I want to achieve, whether it's the business side, whether it's the website, actually the website, fuck it, like someone could do that for me. There's no way I want to do that. Let's go by lighting, the product development, storytelling, photography. Let's say 95% of the things that I need to do done, I want to be able to do. Obviously the financial aspects as well, balancing the books. I don't want to have a gap where I become short-sighted or I almost undermine my own business and my potential because I've let something slip through the cracks. And even more so with how I'm presenting myself and my brand to the public. I don't want to leave it up to someone else's vision or someone else's abilities, which is what I've been doing in the past. It's really important for me to know that I have full ownership and I trust myself enough to put enough work and time and effort into creating this. Yeah. All right, I've been speaking for 18 and a half minutes, which is quite a long time. I got to get back and do some work. I'm hopefully getting Marina Bay in a couple of other stores, which is really exciting. We're going to just start with our existing belt bags, and then we're going to move on from those. I've been thinking a lot about my product positioning and if I want to phase out the smaller bags to just bring in the everyday bags. But ultimately, I love the smaller bags. I think they're amazing. And honestly, they just make me so happy to look at them. And I do get really good responses from people. Even though sales are up and down, I feel like maybe it's more a matter of me storytelling them and reaching more people, because when people do see the bags, they love them. So I'm going to try to give it another push of how I can communicate the pieces to people rather than just phasing them out, because it's only been like less than a year, let's say like 6 months with those pieces anyway. I took some amazing photos of one of my best friends, Mika, in Bali. We teamed up with this beautiful store called Pamela. They're a vintage store that's about to be launched in Bali, and we took some really great photos I was super happy with. Maybe I make another video about that, because that was a really fun chaotic Chloe afternoon. But I will post those this afternoon, and then I'm going to start releasing more of my Marina Bay work. I'm going to use the existing grid that I have and post it more as a mood board, because it's quite hard to do so much like edited content. And honestly, I find it like attractive, but I think my brand is like not even really just that. Like there's just so much more to it. And clearly that's not even the stage that we're in. Like I kind of want my customers, or I do want my customers to relate to this journey more, and this idea of like building and growing and developing, rather than feeling like everything's so finished, because I don't know if that's as interesting as a story as showing the full picture. So those are the things I'm thinking about. I've also got this great lip color on, which is on my mind. Anyways, I will hopefully be posting more videos. I'm not at all sure of a format yet, and I know this was a really long talking head video, which in documentary work is a big no-no. This is like literally the biggest no-no ever, but too bad. So we'll see a format that I land on. For now, I'm just really enjoying talking and then posting it and seeing what happens, which is usually nothing, but let's go. But it feels good to release. And over the last week when I was on holiday, I was thinking so much about, I don't know how much I've changed, and the ways in which I interact with the world now. And honestly, I've changed so much over the last 2 years. I think I'm always the same person, but I just think in my confidence and in my abilities to communicate myself and my ideas and make things happen, I've learned so much about what I'm capable of and what I do want to achieve. And I think posting these videos is just a part of that, is like holding nothing back and knowing that you don't know which angle an opportunity will come from, so you might as well just go at it from all guns. Is that the expression? I don't think so. But I felt like I lived in a place of relative fear and anxiety for such a long time. And obviously that still creeps through, but I'm much better at handling it. I just never want to go back, and posting online feels very exposing because it's so permanent. Not that anyone ever even sees these videos, but you know, who knows what information will come back to you. At the same time though, I just feel like I am someone that never ever wants to keep anything in and have any regrets. And it's felt like an amazing release to finally be public in a way that I feel like is really true to me. So yeah, also just add it to my list of things that I'm working on is I've always wanted to have my own documentary TV show where I interview people. I actually tried to start one 2 years ago called Fantasia, but I just didn't have enough manpower and capital at the time, and I decided to focus more on Marina Bay, but I will bring it back eventually. Fantasia Truly Asia. Please don't look it up because it's so raw and I really don't want anyone to see it. But I feel like this is a great way to practice talking to the camera and being okay with releasing parts of yourself and your words. If anyone made it this far, #1 subscriber. All right, bye guys.